Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another shared news from home, as well as a Bachelor in Paradise live recap show. We are here to break down everything that has happened the past 2 nights on Bachelor in Paradise, mainly last night's episode. A lot went down because Becca has entered the beach, a devastating breakup between Tajuan and Trey, and of course, Tia arrives and asks Kenny on a date. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, and I am joined today by my lovely Bachelor-loving co-hosts, Morgan Wright and Gianna Gravelisi. Morgan, how are you doing? What did you think of this week's episodes? Give me the tea.
I'm great. I mean, 4 hours of nonstop chaos on the beach this week. Definitely better episodes, both Monday and Tuesday, I think, than last week, and left on a huge cliffhanger with Kendall coming in. So I'm very excited to get into it. Gianna, what were your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, we always hear the most dramatic season yet. This is the most dramatic episode yet. But I really think that these last two episodes were the most dramatic yet. I know we're still early on in the season, but so much happened. So much tea was spilled. All the drama, all the tears, all the cake in the fire. And I just can't wait to get into it.
The cake in the fire was truly an iconic moment. But you're right, Gianna. Like, everything is happening so fast. There's so much jam-packed into these episodes. I feel like every 10 minutes now, like, everyone is breaking up or there's a new love triangle. So we're gonna try and break down like every situation. We all here have lots of opinions, so I can't wait to hear yours. But before we get into it, you guys, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to our channel, ring the bell, give this video a thumbs up so you never miss out on any future videos. And unfortunately, we do have to start this live off with devastating Bachelor in Paradise news. I want us to start on a high note, but I wanted to get this over with before that Tajuan has left the beach. I am personally mourning this loss. I don't know about you guys, but basically Trey was the one who decided to leave the beach first. He realized that his connection with Tajuan is just better off as friends. So then Trey decided to leave the beach, which resulted in Tajuan leaving the beach shortly after. I mean, Morgan, I am devastated. How are you handling the news?
Yeah, it kind of came out of left field, right? I wish they would have explained what was going on with Tajuan a little more, because I feel like one episode they were making out on that daybed, and then the very next episode they were both leaving the beach. I mean, on Monday night we did see Tajuan yelling into the ocean, but nobody knew what she was really upset about.
Tajnado.
I know, it's so wild. I do think that Tajuan kind of prematurely threw in the towel, because, she said that there was nobody there for her. At that point, Ivan was freshly single. Aaron was freshly single. James didn't have a rose. And you have to remember, there are new people coming into Paradise all the time. So even if there wasn't somebody there right then and there, like, that's what the friendship rose is for. I really would have liked to see her give somebody the friendship rose, but she didn't. And we will definitely miss her antics. That's for sure.
Do we think she still has a chance with Dr. Anthony Cooper, aka Trey's uncle, Gianna?
I don't think so. I mean, it was crazy enough that she started to date Trey after the fact that she already dated his uncle. So I think if she tried to go back into the family, that would just be really awkward considering that this is how she left Trey. I'm just picturing her maybe getting back with the uncle and them having like a Christmas dinner, and she's like sitting across from Trey and it's like, hey, last time I saw you, we were like both crying in paradise. Like, I just don't see that happening. Like, she already had her chance. It was already a weird situation. And I think that she just needs to cut ties from that whole family and just move on.
You don't see her with like Trey's cousin or maybe a grandfather. Like, she has to at least try to make it work in the Cooper family. Gianna, there has to be a Cooper out there for her.
Okay, maybe the cousin. I like the idea of the grandfather, Zach. Let's see if that happens.
Keeping Up with the Coopers is a show that I want to watch. But I did get some tea on Tajuan and the uncle. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Tajuan was on, I believe it was the Clickbait Nation podcast, and she was talking more about her relationship with Trey's uncle before the show. And she said they met on a dating app. They met for coffee one time, and they ended up kissing after the coffee date, but it was more of a friend vibe. And she also said that the uncle traveled a lot, and a couple months later, Trey's uncle, Dr. Anthony, put Trey and Tajuan in a group chat. There was a group chat between the three of them, and basically, Dr. Anthony found out that Trey was going to Bachelor, so he wanted to like connect them so they could get advice. And then Tajuan also said that she did not expect to see Trey on the beach and that there was nothing more than like a casual group chat for a second. But Morgan, does that change anything? And I want to know, like, do you think Trey made the right decision to leave the beach?
I mean, I feel like it does change a little bit just because it gives us context to something that happened outside of Paradise. So we know that they weren't like blindly meeting, because how random was that? Oh yeah, by the way, I went on a date with Trey's uncle.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, wait a second, what? But hearing the backstory, now it makes a little bit more sense. I don't know how I feel about Trey leaving either, because it's kind of the same thing that I had already said. Like, I mean, Becca Kufrin came down the steps before the rose ceremony. New women
He
are
missed
coming in
Becca.
constantly. So it's like, why this season are people not utilizing the friendship rose? It's what it's there for. And we know there's more contestants on this season than ever before. So I'm disappointed that they both left.
Me too. I think it does provide more context. Now we know Trey already knew about Tajuan and the uncle's past before Paradise. So it gives us a little bit more context, but I'm glad you bring up Becca Kuf because she showed up to the rose ceremony. She ended up crashing the rose ceremony. Season 14 Bachelorette 2018. Becca really gave us the facts when she was talking to Aaron, and she was immediately, as Lance Bass said, the Bachelorette of Paradise. She had Aaron, Carl, James, and Ivan all going up to her, and Aaron even admitted that Becca was his favorite bachelorette, which I really think aged her, and that he had a huge crush on her. I mean, Gianna, what were your thoughts of Becca showing up? Is this a college kid, if you saw that meme, is this the college kid kind of crashing the high school reunion?
I think it is, but I think it's the cool college kid that like everyone looks up to and everybody likes, right? And like watching her talk to all of these men, these men that weren't secure in any relationships, that were basically fighting to keep their spot in Paradise, it reminded me of her season. I'm like, are we watching The Bachelorette all over again? She's on the daybed. We have Carl coming in to steal her time, Aaron coming in. Like, it was literally like, I'm like, is this Bachelorette or are we watching Paradise? So, I mean, I'm all for her. She is not troublesome at all in my eyes. And I think that, her eventually connecting with Aaron was great. And I'm just excited to see her time here in Paradise.
Yeah. And I know Morgan's really excited too, because Morgan is a huge Becca Kuf fan. I feel like she was giving the rose to Aaron, Morgan, as just like, all right, you won it the most. Because it was just too soon for her to like give out a real connection. And Aaron just really, really wanted that rose.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that somebody, a very attractive man like Aaron, were to tell you, I have had a crush on you in the past, and they were laughing, they were flirting a little bit. She didn't have a lot of time to make up her mind, right? I mean, we saw a very condensed version of how long she was there, but it couldn't have been more than a couple of hours. She has to figure out where her rose is going. So I feel like it's almost impossible for her to have already like had feelings for someone, but I like them. I think that they're cute. And I don't feel like it should age her. I feel like if anything, it should make other people confident in pursuing her, because she does take it seriously. She does want to be married. She was engaged to Garrett for, I think it was like at least 2 years.
2 years.
So
Yeah.
I feel like it's all overall a positive thing. And like, just because she has been removed from, the show for a couple of years, she's not the oldest. Kenny's 40. So it's like, I'm all here for Becca. I love her. I can't wait to see where her love story goes next.
Okay, I mean, I think she aged herself. She did call herself a cougar when talking to Aaron, but it's going to be
She's
so
31.
hilarious.
There are tons
Yeah.
of other 31-year-olds on
Aaron's
the
a
team.
baby too. So
Aaron's
Yeah.
young for her. Aaron's too young for her, but it's going to be so funny because we all know that Thomas and Becca are going to have a connection, and Thomas already stole Tammy from Aaron. So just wait for Aaron's reaction when Thomas steals Becca as well. I mean, this is just not going to be a good season for Aaron. He's really getting all of his women stealed by him, by his mortal arch enemy. Gianna, what are you making of Aaron this season?
Oh my God. I mean, it's like on one hand, I don't think that Thomas owes Aaron anything. Like they didn't like each other. They had beef over Katie. It's like, why can't we just grow up and kind of get over it? I mean, I thought it was kind of respectful-ish of Aaron to just say his piece to Thomas, and all the other guys from Katie's season, you know, Trey and James as well, having that talk on the daybed. But it's just so, it's the irony of the situation, right? It's like, of course, Thomas, out of all the women, is now taking like Aaron's girl. And, you know, I think that like Aaron's anger is really showing us like maybe there's a lot more that happened on Katie's season that we don't know, because, you know, we saw just like a very small snippet of Thomas's behavior. We obviously saw, you know, him get kicked out, you know, his Bachelor audition is over type of thing. So I'm like,
Yes.
there must have been more that had to have happened. And like, now that I'm watching Thomas on the screen, like, he's very charming. Like, it is so easy for, I think, any woman on that beach to get kind of caught up in his charm and, you know, call it manipulation if you will. But I think Thomas is smart. I think he knows what he's doing. And I do think that like he has all the good intentions of finding love. I just think that he's doing it in a malicious way, if that makes any sense. Like, I think that he really wants to find somebody, but he's kind of putting on this act and, you know, that charm, that, you know, good guy act that we keep seeing. So I don't think we've ever even seen the real Thomas, but I understand completely why Aaron is so angry and shook over this. So I don't blame Aaron at all. I'm wondering if they're gonna like fight. Like, I really think someone's
Yeah.
gonna throw a punch soon. So I guess we'll just have
I
to
don't
see.
think so. I don't think they'll throw hands at each other, but I do kind of agree with what you said. I feel like Aaron is just a little immature. He's 26. Like, I think he might just be looking for a girlfriend and maybe less of a fiance, but I enjoy Aaron a lot on the show. And it's clear that Thomas, that Aaron is threatened by Thomas, or Thomas just triggers Aaron, because it doesn't seem like the rest of the guys have such a problem. But it's still just ironic, as you mentioned, that Aaron, got stolen by Thomas for Tammy. Like, Tammy and Thomas are now all of a sudden a thing. They're all of a sudden a power couple all over each other. I mean, and Tammy even gave her rose to Thomas, which shocked me. Morgan, what are you making of this love triangle? I mean, do you think Tammy is a better suited for Thomas? I mean, it's just toxicity everywhere to me.
Yeah, so I actually saw a tweet from Tammy that said after her makeout session with Thomas, she had not made up her mind yet. You know, she didn't know if she was going to give her
Ooh.
rose to Aaron or to Thomas. And it was actually after Aaron confronted Tammy and yelled at her the way that he handled that situation. That's when she decided that she was not going to give her rose to Aaron, which, I mean, how could you give your rose to Aaron after that
Yeah.
huge of a fight?
Uh-huh.
He even said, like, we're done, we're not going to be together, you really messed this up. So there's no way that she would have done that, but her mind wasn't made up. I'll say that I agree with Tammy in the sense that you have to be able to explore other relationships if you are going to be sure at the end which one is right for you. However, we all can agree that Tammy went about it in probably the worst way possible. You cannot
Yeah.
straddle this dude who is the number one enemy of the guy that you're seeing and
Mortal
make out with
enemy.
him like 6 feet away from each other. I mean, did she think that that was going to go over well? No, there was no chance that that was going to be smooth sailing for her. So
Not
I
at
don't
all.
know. I feel like Tammy might end up regretting her decision to straddle Thomas and make out with him in front of Aaron.
I completely agree. And I also just feel like there's no privacy on Bachelor in Paradise. It's like, why couldn't they find a place to make out somewhere else? But then when you watch the show, and I watched it twice last night, everyone is in everyone's business. Everyone's narrating everyone's business. Everyone knows who's kissing who. It's impossible to do anything in private and in secretive. So I feel like Tammy had no choice but to for everyone to find out if she was going to make out with Thomas. But it's going to be ironic when we see what happens in the future. I don't think Tammy and Thomas are meant to be, but Tammy also brought up a good point that Aaron was making out with Serena last week, so it was all fair game. But neither here nor there. We're going to have to move on to another love triangle, or that triangle has already exploded, but Chasen, Deandra, and Carl. So Chasen presented Deandra with a necklace similar to Carl's bracelet, and Deandra ended up deciding to return Carl's bracelet because she wants Carl to give it to someone who's mutually interested in her. And then Carl confronts Chasen, basically saying, why are you giving a girl a necklace? Like, you don't even know her. It's your first date here. And Deandra ends up deciding that she doesn't need any of this jewelry in her life. She's too good for both of them, and she gives her rose to Ivan. Gianna, I mean, would you have rather got presented a bracelet by Carl or a necklace by Chasen?
Okay, first of all, where are they getting this jewelry? Like, where is it from?
I
Because
don't
I
know.
only like to wear real jewelry. So if it's not real, I'm not taking either. But if I truly had to pick, just because I don't like Carl, like from Katie's season, I never liked him. So I'd rather the necklace from Chasen, even though I agree with what Demi said. It was kind of an ugly necklace. I did
Demi's
not
so
like it
funny.
Kind
at
of.
all.
Kind of. It's
Demi
hideous.
did not like it.
It's hideous.
Yeah.
It's so bad. It was like a huge. It looks like one of those fake chains they sell at like a stand in the mall. But this was just craziness. And then Carl's kind of hypocritical because he's like, "Why are you giving her a necklace?" It's like, dude, why are you giving her a bracelet? It's not like you guys were really that deep into your relationship either.
Yeah, but it's
Like you had a
different.
thing going on.
It's different. They
It's
were
a little
together for like a
different, but
week. Chasen got there today, and all of a sudden he has a necklace. You know that was producer planted, or Chasen found a random necklace. Like at least Carl's bracelet had a little bit more meaning, and he brought it from home.
oh, absolutely. I also think that like definitely producer planted, but it's just so funny that Chasen was basically he was only doing it to one up Carl. There was no way that he was doing it out of the goodness of his heart because it's like, oh, you got this little dinky bracelet. Okay, I'm gonna give you this what he thought was like this grand necklace. So it was just funny to see how men like are their egos are fragile. Like they were
Mhm.
really like just like starting to intimidate each other in a way, even though, Chasen was like, I am not intimidated by Carl. I got this in the bag. Like he's going
Clearly
home, blah, blah,
not.
blah, whatever he said. And then neither of them got the rose, to which my jaw hit the ground, the
Oh, I
gasp that
know.
I let out and the cackle. It was a great moment from Deandra. I respect her so much.
Yeah. Morgan, what are your thoughts? I'm Team Carl in this situation. I didn't like Carl either from Katie's season, but in this situation, definitely Team Carl. I think he's more genuine.
I am team Deandra. That is how you do it on Bachelor in Paradise. You say, screw you, screw you. I know what you guys are trying to do here. So, peace. Both of you are going home, and I'm getting Ivan. And let me just say, these two would also be a power couple. Much better than Deandra and Chasen, much better than Deandra and Carl. I feel like these two could actually go the difference. They just haven't been able to because they've been tied up in other people. But this is what we need from Paradise. She's like, nope, I don't see a future with either of you two. And you keep giving me hideous jewelry. So you know what? I'm gonna flip the script real quick and I'm grabbing Ivan. This might have been my favorite moment of last night's episode.
That's fair. I really am glad that
Absolutely.
Ivan got saved in all of this because I was worried he was going to go home after Jasenia left him for Chris. But I figured out that like Ivan would be saved regardless. Like I felt like maybe Becca would have gave Ivan a rose, but I am just so happy that Ivan is saved. And I'm also loving Deandra a lot this season. We didn't really know much about her going into this season. She was from Peter's season. I mean, how many times am I going to say season? But I really love Deandra and I love Marissa too. She's a really good time. But we got to move on and talk about Tia, the new arrival. Tia is back on Paradise, and she, of course, was talking about cough cough Colton. She made it to hometowns on Ari's season. If you guys forgot, she went on Bachelor in Paradise, fell in love with Colton. Now she's back with a date card, and the date card says, "Hopefully, there's better luck on the other side of the rainbow." So lots of Colton references in last night's episode. Gianna, what do you make of all of this? Should Colton just show up at the beach at this point? They can't stop bringing him up.
I mean, I think Colton should just like be a guest host at this point. Like, honestly, you're gonna bring him up so many times, you might as well just invite him. Like, and I would love to see a paradise with gay couples. Why haven't they done that
Please,
yet? Like, we need
soon.
to see it in the future. So I think it should totally be a thing. But when she read that date card, I lost it. Like, I was like, there is no way that they just said that about him. I didn't know if it was like a fun little joke or if I'm like, is it too soon to laugh? Like I was a little confused, but I was definitely laughing and I was just in disbelief. But I mean, I kind of love that Tia showed up, honestly. Like she's cute,
Mhm.
she's fun. And it stirred the pot yet again. I feel like this whole episode, my head was just spinning between who was going home, like who just got like their rose, this, that, the other. And then she shows
Uh-huh.
up and then you know what happens next. I'm sure
What do
we'll
you
get into
make
it with
of
Kenny.
What did you make of Demi's shade towards Tia? Because Demi was throwing shade at Tia before Kenny even was involved in the equation. Like Demi was just coming for Tia.
Demi was going for Tia. Look, I understand that Demi in that moment was like, she could possibly take my man because I have the hottest man on the beach. But you can't attack another woman's looks or like physical appearance, which Demi was kind of doing. Like, I understand Demi is fun. She says anything that's on her mind. She has no filter. But when it comes to attacking, she even said something about her jean shorts. I'm not for that because that's mean girl behavior. And it's kind of making me think, like, is Demi low-key insecure? Because if Demi was really secure in her relationship with Kenny, insecure within herself, she would have sat back and been like, hi Tia, welcome, go on a date with my guy, I know he's going to come back. But Demi, of course, went and kind of threw a little tantrum. Honestly, she threw a little bratty tantrum, which I didn't like to see that side of her at all. I'm like, it's just, she's rubbing me the wrong way, and I just did not like it whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I love Demi. I think she's such good TV. She's so entertaining. I think she has a really dry, sarcastic, playful sense of humor. I do think she takes it too far sometimes, and that's kind of unfortunate. But I mean, she's threatened. Tia came in here and she wanted to ask Kenny on a date, and that's exactly what she did. What did you make of Kenny and Demi's conversation, Morgan? Because Demi was telling Kenny, don't go, but I mean, I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah, I just to kind of echo your thoughts, Gianna, anytime that you have to say, I'm smarter, I'm
Funner.
funnier, I'm prettier, you're
Mm-hmm.
probably not. And I just like there's
Yep.
so many other things that you can say. And I just think it's such a low blow and it's just not a good look for Demi that you have to tear other people down to feel better about yourself. That really did rub me the wrong way. However, this moment with Kenny, first of all, I don't understand why Kenny is the hot commodity on the beach.
Well,
Like,
who else
Kenny
should
would not
be?
be even in my top three. I mean, Ivan,
What?
I think, is a fan favorite. Like, I just am not into
Brendan.
Kenny at all. Brendan, yeah, there's tons of other options that I don't know. I just kind of get like icky vibes sometimes.
But Kenny's a
But
good time.
however, I know. But how quickly the tables turn, right? He was so upset with Mari for wanting to go on a date to see what else is out there. Not even really like hook up with other people. She just said she wanted to be allowed to go on a date. Now all of a sudden he's with Demi. They've already gone to the boom boom room
Hell
and
yeah.
he is now wanting to go on a date. So it's like, what is going on here with Kenny? Why is this is a huge double standard in my opinion that he got so mad at Mari. He turns around the very next day and does it to Demi. But you know what? I will say out of all three, I liked Kenny and Tia the most out of the three
Okay.
couples, which I find interesting. I wasn't expecting to feel that way. But I just like Tia. I think that she's funny. I think she's down to earth. And I'm happy to see her on the beach.
I mean, I looked at that situation differently. I felt like Mari was the one who was being a hypocrite and being like, go date other people. And then she was the one that got so mad and threw the cake in the fire and everything. So I'm like, Kenny is living his best life. He has all these girls interested in him. He wouldn't have been my first pick either, Morgan. Like, I would have gone for a Brendan or an Ivan. But I feel like Brendan is completely closed off. And Kenny is just so lovable and fun. And he's down to go to the boom boom room. So I'm like, not surprised all the girls are going after him. I mean, Gianna, what did you think of the whole cake debacle? Because I didn't get to talk to you about that. Were you like on Team Mari? Did you want to eat the chocolate cake? Like, where was your thoughts on that?
Anytime there is chocolate cake, I would love to eat it. So if I were on that beach around the fire, I would have been a little sad. Like Riley said, he's
Devastated.
like, I really wanted a piece of that cake. But I think the Mari action of throwing the cake into the fire was more so targeted toward Demi. Like, when you think that you have a friend on the beach, you're confiding in this girl that morning, you're telling her your thought process, and then you literally see her go and make out with the guy that you were just confiding to her like about. Like, I understand her anger and her frustration, because it's one of those things you have to even think about it, like, in our own lives. Like, in my like relationship with a male, if a girl got involved, you should be mad at the girl, you shouldn't be mad at the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Mari definitely had every right to get mad at Demi. And I think, Zach, you love Demi. If roles were reversed, do you think that Demi would have thrown a cake into the fire with her dramatic out there personality?
I
Because I
do.
think she would.
I
So,
actually think she
so
would have
I,
threw the
I
cake
think
everywhere. I think she would have smashed the cake and thrown it everywhere. But no, I think that Mari should be more mad at Kenny because Kenny was the one in a relationship with her. Demi doesn't owe Mari anything. They weren't friends from another season. They just met the other day. Yes, she was confiding in her, but they're here to play Bachelor in Paradise. And Demi saw an opportunity and she took it. She was on the outs and she found a guy. So I mean, I am on Team Demi's side. Morgan, what about you? What do you think? Was the cake in the fire as iconic as it was hyped up to be?
Honestly, I think the scene fell a little flat. I thought
Me
it was going to
too.
be a little bit more dramatic. Like Kenny and Demi
Mhm.
weren't even there when Mari threw the cake in the
Uh-huh.
fire. So I was like, what? Like I kind of it just seemed like it was going to be bigger than it was. Now that being said, it's still an iconic moment. I mean, when else will there be a cake thrown into a fire
You never
on the middle
know.
of
You
Bachelor?
never know.
Yeah, on the middle of Bachelor in Paradise. But I just, I do agree that Demi is allowed to do whatever she wants. Um, Mari kind of stuck her foot in her mouth, but I also just think that it is hypocritical of Kenny got so mad at Mari for wanting to go on dates and he expected Demi to not care at all that he wanted to go on dates. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, that makes sense. That
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll have to see how this kind of plays out next week with the three of them or the four of them. This is our first love square, so it's super exciting. But before we move on to Noah and Abigail, I want to remind you guys we are doing a live Q&A at the end of today's video. So tweet us your questions, send us your favorite memes, and we'll go over them. It's going to be so much fun. We want to hear from you guys, and we want to laugh with Bachelor Nation. So definitely stay tuned. We have so many more exciting things to talk about on today's live, including Noah and Abigail, who have not had a lot of airtime so far this season on Bachelor in Paradise. They had the first one-on-one where they really connected and they were talking about how they have tendencies to friend zone each other, or Abigail at least said that. And Abigail was opening up to the girls about her relationship, and she says that they're taking it really slow, and she's really comparing her relationship to some of the other couples in the house who are so much more on top of each other and kissing all of the time. So Abigail kind of wanted to talk to Noah and tell her how she's feeling, and it still feels like the two of them are in limbo and that they're just not connecting in like a romantic way. I personally think that Noah is too comfortable and he seems a little bit closed off by Abigail. I don't know what it is, but his body language just seemed like he wasn't really into the relationship. But then it's like, why isn't he exploring other options? So I'm a little confused if these two are like heading in the right direction. Gianna, what are your thoughts on Noah and Abigail?
I was really sad because didn't Noah, when he was asked, like during the first episode, who he was excited to potentially see on the beach, he said Abigail. So I'm like,
Yeah, he
this
did.
was your dream relationship. Like, lots of people come into paradise hoping to see that person walk down those stairs, and like it happened, and she was there for him. And then, she asked him on the first one on one. So I'm like, their relationship to me started out so strong, but then when they were on that one on one and Abigail did reveal, I have a tendency to kind of push back and be closed off and friend zone people, I was like, oh no, like she's totally gonna do it with him. And I don't think that Noah's not into the relationship. I just think, and we heard a little glimpse of this for the preview for the next episode, I truly think that he's just tired already of putting in 100% and only getting like 10% back from her. I can kind of relate with Abigail because this is kind of a toxic trait of mine in my life as well. Like when it comes to someone that's like perfect, they're nice to me, they're everything I ever wanted, I'm like, no, back up, I can't do it. And I don't give them
Uh-huh.
anything because I just get scared within myself. And also on Paradise, I think a lot of the relationships that we see, the boom, 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 the make it out on the daybed, we have to remember that's lust. Somebody sees somebody, they're not thinking, oh, I'm going to have a great connection with them. We always hear them say, oh, they're hot. Like, I'd love to go after them.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very much so physical relationship, and Abigail was getting the physical relationship kind of confused with like a mentally stable relationship that I think her and Noah could really have if they weren't in this paradise setting surrounded by all these people doing what they're doing. So it does make me sad. I think it's salvageable, but I don't think they can continue to have like a real life relationship in paradise with all these surrounding factors outside of them.
That's an interesting perspective. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you a lot, but I was also just getting the vibe that like Abigail was really trying to make things work because she was like, should we start all over? Like she wants to put in more effort, and I was getting the vibe that Noah wasn't the one. He didn't want to put in any effort. He was just laying there and was so quiet. Morgan, what did you take away from that conversation?
Yeah, I kind of feel like it went back and forth. Like I was like, what is happening? I can't keep up. But at the end of the conversation, my takeaway from it was Abigail was kind of asking Noah, where the passion is. And then Noah didn't really like fight for Abigail, which I feel like if he would have done that, if he would have even sat up, instead of like laying
Yeah.
down, if he would have sat up and been like, no, I really want to make this work. Like, I have been interested in you and only you. Maybe it would have ended differently. But to me, he kind of just rolled over and let it
Mm-hmm.
happen, which if it
Exactly.
were me, I would be like, oh, he's not really that interested after all. So I don't know. I'm very confused with this one. I do agree that, lust does go away. However, they are lacking some passion, which you also do need. So I'll be interested to see where these two go from here. It's like it's just a mind game with these two. They can't get out of their own way.
I don't think it's gonna last, especially because this is all we're seeing of them. Like we have not seen them in 3 episodes. Neither of them have had any airtime. And the first time we hear their story, it's just like they're headed for divorce. Like it's just not working with them. So I'm kind of upset for them because they were originally my favorite couple. And my other favorite couple was Ivan and Jasenia. So I'm devastated that Chris stole Jasenia, and Jasenia seems a lot more into Chris than she ever did with Ivan. She did say that Chris has that spark that you can't force. Gianna, who is your favorite couple in Paradise right now? Do you feel like there's any couple that is the most solid that you're really rooting for?
Serena and Joe. Absolutely.
Serena, P,
They
and
they
Joe.
even said, yeah, they even said that this episode they were laying down together and they're like, I think we're the strongest couple on this beach. And I think they are too. But again, at the end of that sentiment, I got nervous because if you paid attention in last night's episode, Joe said, "What could possibly go wrong?" And they played this weird music, and I'm like, "Oh no, they're gonna have a falling out too," which we do end up seeing in the previews. I believe Serena P ends up with someone else. If I feel like Zach, you
Wait,
may know.
what? No, I
I
don't
think,
know.
unless I saw that.
Okay.
Oh no, that was from a couple. I made a mistake. That was from when she went on her date with Thomas. That was
Okay,
I'm getting my
okay.
episodes confused. But I
There's a
do
lot of
think
episodes.
that there's a lot of episodes going on. There's a lot of drama. I think right now, in this current moment, they're the strongest. Fingers crossed that that stays the same, but you just never know with Paradise.
They definitely seem the strongest, and Kendall is showing up. I mean, she did show up in the episode, but my favorite couple right now, and Morgan, I want to get your thoughts, is Riley and Marissa. Like they are vibing. Like I feel like they are really hitting it off. And Marissa, I love her friendship with Demi, and I also just like love her personality. She seems so dope and cool. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I love Marissa. I'm just not like that into Riley. Just something about like his swag kind of to me comes off kind of like do you guys know what I'm trying to say? Like
Yes,
it's just
Sure,
I
the way
agree with
that
you
he
cringy.
carries
already.
himself is not my cup of tea. I am way more a grocery store Joe, like kind of dorky, like
Yes.
self deprecating sense of humor. That's just the type of guys that I like. But I do think that they are a really hot couple. They're really hot for each other, which is important. But it does feel like they also connect, on an emotional level. So I feel like those are the things that you really need to start a solid relationship. So I definitely think, Joe and Serena P are at the top of the list. I think these two probably do come in second.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, an emotional level is so important, but so is the intimate level too. And we saw this on the date with Kenny and Tia where they played strip volleyball. Gianna, what are your thoughts? I mean, would you ever get naked on a date with someone, a first date in particular?
Funny you ask, Zach.
Oh, is there a
No,
story?
I'm just totally kidding. I don't know. Like, I mean, again, you're on reality TV. Like, she was so uncomfortable too. Like, it took
The
them a
battle.
solid, we only saw obviously the edited down version, but it took them like a couple of minutes to end up even taking clothes off. And, she just took her top off. I think I do exactly what Tia did. I would not go full fledged nude, especially you have to think about all the crew that is behind the cameras too. Like, I could never do that, especially like she said, her parents watch the show. I know if I were on it, my parents would watch the show. They would not be happy with me, even if I was like in my 30s. Like, they literally would be pissed. So I would probably just take a top off. I don't know if I'd go full fledged nude, but I'm glad we got to see more of Kenny's body because I really like
Oh
his
my
body.
God.
So
He's always nude. To be honest, where I'm at in my life right now, I am just so free and open. And I probably, as long as ABC agreed to not like air me naked on TV, I honestly would do it because they would just blur me out or put a box and my parents wouldn't care that much, nor would I care. I'm an adult and make my own decisions. So I honestly would do it. I would get naked on the date and say F it. I mean, I went to a nude beach like a month ago and it was just so freeing. So honestly, I'm on the same page with Kenny. Morgan, what about you?
Oh, no, 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 never in a million years. Yes, I am an independent female. I pay all my own bills, but I still do
Let
not
him
want my
know.
parents to be mad at me and they would literally kill me. And I just want to make them proud. So I'm going to say, nope, it's going to be a no for me. But I thoroughly enjoyed Tia's commentary was so funny. She had me
Yeah.
cracking up talking about teapots and whatever else she called it. I was just dying. And I think that's
The
why I like
babble.
these two, yeah, I like these two better than Demi and Kenny or even Mari and Kenny because I think I just like Tia more than both of them.
That's fair. I
mm.
mean, Tia has a good personality. She's coming in a lot more like chill than last time. When she was on Paradise last time, her mind was like all on Colton and that's all she cared about. And she just came across very like demanding and uptight. So I'm glad that she's like letting loose. She seems very chill. And it's like all of the girls are coming back from Ari's season. Becca was from Ari's season. Tia was from Ari's season. Now Kendall has entered the chat also from Ari's season. She's coming in hot with her red two-piece, looks absolutely flawless. All of the guys stand up to greet Kendall, and she does a quick beeline and goes directly to grocery store Joe. And it almost sounds like Kendall is strictly coming for Joe and Joe only. Gianna, what do we make about this? I mean, is Kendall open to dating other guys? Like, how is she gonna react when she sees that Joe is full fledged with Serena P?
I was sweating like watching this all go down.
As was
Especially when she
Tajuan.
did that. I am Tajwan. Like, I needed that big fan that they gave her, but especially when she did the beeline. We've seen all these people added to the beach, and they usually say hello, give everyone a hug, and introduce themselves. And she just like ran. Not to mention the fact that she also blatantly said, this is where Joe and I's relationship started. So I figured maybe this is where, and she didn't say pick back up, but we all know that she means pick it back up. So I do think that she's all eyes for Joe. She even said again, I hope he's not with anybody else, and he is. So this is just going to be a really messy situation for Joe. I mean, I don't know how he's going to handle this. In the first episode, he was so emotional, thinking about her and him on the beach. He's like, this is where it all happened. And we saw him taking, those depression naps on the day bed. We saw the tears right off the bat within like the first 10 minutes of the episode. So this is going to be bad. If my ex ever walked on the beach, like a recent ex, I would just go in the ocean and never come back. So I don't know how
Yeah.
he's going to handle this. This is going to be the biggest stir of the pot, in my opinion, this season.
I know. I mean, I just hope that Kendall is open to dating other guys and that she's not only here for Joe, because at this point, Joe and Serena have already confirmed their relationship. How do you think Serena is going to handle this, Morgan? Is Serena going to be the jealous type? Do we think she's going to pull Kendall aside and try and talk to her?
Oh, I have so many thoughts about this. It's so difficult. First of all, I want to just point something out to you guys. Kendall is wearing the same outfit that Mari wore when she threw the cake in the fire, except Mari's was
Oh,
A
yellow.
different
It
color.
both is
Uh-oh.
the strap and
wow.
the both
Is
the
this
slit all the way
foreshadowing?
up. It's like the first thing that I noticed. I was like, oh, they're totally wearing the same outfit there. Second of all, I hate so much that Kendall came in and said, hey, butthead, like the pet name butthead. No, no.
Wow.
You know, she was just trying to like claim her dominance. Like, you know, we've known each other for years. We have these inside jokes. I call him butthead. Like, that really irked me
They've
so.
been broken up for a year. Like, I mean, is it really closed if you still have nicknames for him, or do those never go away?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that was kind of her way of like flirting with him. And it's like one of
Yes.
those things where it shows, like, you know, I have time on my side. I've known Joe for 3 years. You know, I call him butthead. Like, oh, I just hated it. It made me cringe so hard. I feel like everything that we've seen from Serena P up until now has been very mature, very level headed. Even in Matt James' season, you know, she really didn't play any games. She said, uh, Matt, I just don't like you that much. I don't think that you're my person, so I'm going to leave. You know, she didn't sugarcoat anything. She wasn't like, oh, I'm just not ready to get engaged. She said,
Like Kit
you know,
did.
you're not my guy. Yeah. So
Hmm.
I feel like if anybody, I don't want to say if this were to happen to anybody, like I feel like Serena could handle it the best. But if this were to happen to anybody, I feel like Serena could handle the best. Nobody would be comfortable in the situation. I definitely think it's going to, you know, rile up her emotions, but I have hopes that Joe and Serena will get through it. At the end of the day, Kendall and Joe's issues were about Kendall not being willing to relocate to Chicago. And if that hasn't changed, I don't see their relationship changing. So, you know, what's really the point if Kendall doesn't want to move anywhere? It is what it is. You really just need to let it go.
Yeah, the relationship's been over for a year. It's like maybe they would have got back together if it was a few months and they needed time, but it's been over a year. So I just feel like they need to close the chapter. So hopefully Kendall's open to dating other people, and hopefully Serena is open to moving to Chicago because Joe loves Chicago. But we're going to start looking at some clips for next week's episode and see if we can dissect, see if we can predict anything that's going to go down. So we're going to take a look at our first clip, which is going to be continuing with Abigail and Noah. Maybe the two of them will get to a better place, or maybe it will be the demise. Let's take a look.
Turned on their head in paradise.
I'm giving and I'm not getting much in return.
I honestly thought
He's getting, but he's not getting much in return, which it doesn't make sense to me because after we talked about this, I felt like Morgan was on the same page. Noah wasn't giving in return. Abigail was the one making the effort. Gianna, does this change your mind now that you see this clip? Or, I mean, also, are they going to break up?
Oh, I'm confused. Now I'm just confused because I mean, again, there's so much that we don't see go on when the show premieres, right? We're only seeing a snippet. Like you said, Zach, they haven't even gotten any airtime because all of the other drama has kind of been overshadowing their relationship. So it's like, who knows who was putting in the effort or who wasn't putting in the effort at the end of the day. But if this is what Noah's saying, maybe that's actually how it did go down. But we did see Abigail really trying in the fight. But again, you have to think like if he was pushing and giving an effort off camera, then we see the fight or the conversation happen on camera. It's like, was Abigail scared and that's why she was kind of pushing and giving then, and he's just over it and that's why he was just chilling, laying on the little day bed there and just not giving anything? Again, we just don't know. I don't know. I'm confused. I hope they don't break up though. I really hope not.
Yeah, I want them to work too, but I also feel like if they break up, they're going to leave the beach, and I just don't see them dating other people. At this point, they're too in with each other that they're not going to date other people. Because it's really one thing to break up with someone and then like date someone else, like kind of like what Tammy did with Thomas, and then like you're dating someone else on the beach in front of someone you were linked to for a week. So it's just strange. Morgan, how do you think this is all going to go down?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think that they're going to work this one out. I feel like they both kind of self-sabotage in their own way. I mean, I know that we've heard Abigail be like more vocal about the fact that she does it a lot in her relationships, and you can see it play out here, but I don't feel like Noah's helping the situation at all. And it's like one of those things where maybe they maybe they're just oil and water. Maybe they just don't mix and they're not going to mix. And I agree with you. I feel like at this point they've been there for a while. This might emotionally spend them. They might not want to try again because, you know, it looks like they're both upset about it. So I feel like if they
Yeah.
do break up, they probably will both go home as well.
Yeah, and whether that's like next episode or if they want to wait 2 weeks, we know that these contestants get paid by the day. You know, it's really up to them and their finances and everything. But let's continue on. We're going to see the Mari, Demi, and Kenny love triangle play out a little bit more. I mean, this might be the love triangle I'm most invested in at this point. It's the most toxic and polarizing. So let's take a look.
I still have feelings for you.
I didn't expect that.
I do whatever I need to do to keep us together.
I'm like Demi is just she's a savage. Like she really is, but this is where I think it's a little bit manipulating because she knows if she can get him into the boom boom room, it's going to drive Mari crazy because Demi, I don't think Mari wants to go to the boom boom room yet. Like Demi's almost using her sexuality as a weapon, and that's how I'm taking this. And I love Demi, but I won't blindly defend her. Morgan, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. It's just a low blow. It's like, and in my opinion, if that is what you have to do to get a guy to commit to you,
Mhm.
no, not a good look. Like you shouldn't have to do that to have him say, "Okay, Demi, you're going to be my girl." And I just that kind of it makes me sad for Demi that she feels like she has to do that to kind of secure Kenny.
A
Now,
rose.
I thought when this first went down between Kenny and Mari that they weren't done anyways. I feel like Kenny was kind of trying to make Mari jealous by going with Demi at first. I feel like him going to the boom boom room was a little too extreme. And if I was Mari and I knew that they had already like hooked up or whatever, I would be like, no, I'm done
Me
with this
too.
dude. Like, that's so disrespectful to do like the first day that they start talking. So I'm actually surprised that she's the one that initiates it, but maybe that means that they really did have a strong and real connection. I don't know.
I mean, clearly if she still likes him after he went on a date with 2 other people, but I'm on the same page. If you're hooking up with someone and if you're going to boom boom room, I'm done with you. Like that's you can date around and see who else you like, but boom boom room, I'm going to the next spin-off show. Honestly. Gianna, what about you? What are your thoughts on this?
I agree with the both of you. And I feel as though this conversation with Kenny and Mari is going to possibly reignite their connection because I don't think that Demi would randomly just be like, do you want to go to the boom boom room right now? I think it's like you said, Zach, it's a defense mechanism. So clearly something to have happened with these two again for Demi to go out of her way. And we just heard her say, you know, I'll do whatever it takes to keep Kenny, whatever she said. And I really do think that if Kenny's
Whatever
really
it
looking
takes.
for love, whatever it takes, if Kenny is looking for love, he'll hopefully see right through Demi's, you know, kind of manipulative
Facade.
tactics with her sexuality. So I think that something is definitely going to happen between Mari and Kenny again. I kind of hope they work out because I really liked her, but
Over
I
Tia
do
though?
agree if but I like Tia too. This is where it gets so confusing. But I don't think we've seen enough of Tia and Kenny yet. We only saw their one date, which
We've
was really
seen
cute.
enough of
but
them. No, we have seen
Well,
all of them.
we've
actually.
seen enough of them. But I think we really need to see what happens, you know, outside of the date with these two. But I think something's gonna happen for Demi to act like that. So
Yeah, and
we'll
she
see.
won't go down without a fight. A lot of people on the beach are scared of her, including Brendan. So let's take a look at this next clip where we're going to see, I could be the fallout of Brendan and Natasha, which I think we all saw coming. But let's take a look at the clip and dissect what's coming next week. Bum, bum,
He
bum.
wasn't fully transparent about what his intentions are.
She has no idea what's been going on.
Maybe it was fun, maybe it was a fling, but the rumors are not true.
Okay, so obviously there's like a lot of alluding to Piper, who's gonna be in our next clip. So let's just kind of talk about Natasha and Brendan here. It seems like she's starting to find out that he might not be as into her as she is into him, and the whole island is talking about it, including Tia. This is interesting. Morgan, where do you fall on this?
I feel like all the signs are there for Natasha and she's just not picking them up. I mean, even the kiss, right, that we saw this week between Natasha and Brendan, she was so excited that they kissed. And I was like, no, that's not the kiss you want. Like, that was a very forced, awkward, cringy, like nothing behind it type of kiss. And I feel like, you know, if Brendan was kissing me like that, I would be like, oh, that was a pity kiss.
Yeah.
He's not into me. But Natasha didn't like pick up on the red flags at all. And it really stresses me out for her because she's so smart. She's so beautiful. She has so much to offer. And she's just wasting her heart and emotions on a guy who's not emotionally available for her. And it makes me sad. And I know we're going to get into like the Piper situation next. So, Gianna, what are your thoughts on Natasha?
Yeah, I feel so bad for Natasha because I think she's really giving her all in this relationship, and like Brendan doesn't deserve her. I think anytime he's even spoken to her, it feels like he's reading off of a script, or it feels like he's just not all there. So I mean, it's clear as day. Like, he's pretty much using her to stay on the beach as long as he can until he sees who he wants to see coming down those stairs. So I just feel so sad for her. I hope that it doesn't cause her to leave because I do love Natasha. I hope she can find somebody else, but I don't know if there's any bouncing back from what's going to happen in a couple episodes from now.
You know, I honestly don't feel that bad for her. I agree that she's awesome, but I think she's had plenty of warnings from all of the girls that Piper is going to be there, and she has chosen to ignore them and listen to Brendan. Do you remember what Brendan said the other day? He described the relationship as it was casual. I mean, like, you need to specifically ask, and this is why I love Serena P. She specifically said, what's going to happen when Kendall shows up on the beach, or if Kendall shows up on the beach? And Joe specifically said, that's over. Natasha never asked Brendan that point blank unless it wasn't shown. And I think that Natasha has had plenty of chances to talk to all of the other guys. There was an extra 5 guys this week, and there were so many guys that went home, and she didn't take those opportunities. She took the opportunity to kiss Brendan's ass quite literally because she's on top of him giving him a massage when she should be the one getting the massage because he needs to earn her rose. So Natasha, I don't feel bad for you, but I do think you are a catch. So, I mean,
tell us how you really feel, Zach.
That's how I feel. So
You just
that's how I feel.
mind, I think. Wow.
Okay, well, let's just look at the next clip with Piper, and then you guys can give me your rebuttal because Piper's showing up, and she's showing up with a date card. So let's see.
Wow. This place is just insane. The time we have spent together, I have enjoyed. It was
Oh, Marissa's face says it all. Oh my God. Wait, Morgan, do you remember, give us the rundown. Do you remember Piper from that season? Like, tell us what she was like.
Yeah, so I believe she made it to the top 6. She got a hot seat on I think it was after the Men Tell All,
Women Tell All.
Which was surprising. I mean, let's be honest, after Matt James season, I knew nothing about any of the contestants because they were so focused on Queen Bee and all that drama. So I don't know anything about Piper, honestly, even though we watched her on a whole season. I just feel like the facial expressions say it all. Everyone's eyes look like deer in headlights when Piper starts to walk down. I mean, everybody on the beach. And I personally cannot wait for Natasha to lay into Brendan because she's gonna do it. She's gonna speak her mind. She's not a weak person. And she's probably going to be really pissed, as anybody else would be, because it's not cool to use somebody, and Brendan totally used Natasha. And I'm ready to see her just roast him.
Ooh, it's going to go down. I mean, Gianna, what can you predict? What do you remember about Piper? Did you like her? I mean, it's just her smirk kind of irks me with Piper.
Yeah.
She just seems a little, like, evil. I don't know.
Yeah, she comes off as like kind of malicious. Like, I mean, I never loved her. She didn't give me a full reason to not like her. So it was just one of those things where I felt kind of indifferent. But right now, it looks like she's coming to cause a ruckus on the beach, honestly. And even Brendan's face when he sees her, he's like, uh-oh, like I've done it. Like
he knows
happening.
she's coming.
Like,
he knows that she was coming.
He did, and he's like, it's happening, it's here. And like I said, Zach, after I heard your piece on the last clip we just talked about, Natasha definitely did have all the warning signs, and like she held the power, like she had the rose this week. She didn't have to even give it to him. Like she could have made this whole thing, like she could have shut it down and
And
saved
Piper
herself
would have
early
showed
on.
up.
But I know, again, and you have to think about it like in real life, people are in relationships where like unfortunately they get cheated on, and sometimes people are like, hey, your person is cheating on you, and you're just like, no, like it's deer in headlights when you not deer in
Yeah.
headlights, horse blinders, when you really like somebody and you're really into them. So I think she just had false hope, so that's why I still do feel a little bad for her. But you're right, she definitely had all the signs to save herself before this whole thing happens, because now we're going to see this
It
conversation. But I think she has every right to lay down the law with him and put him in his
lay him
place.
on
I
him.
can't wait to watch it. Mm-hmm.
It's all going to happen next week. We have one more clip of Brendan and Piper on a date, and then we'll give our final thoughts on that and open it up to the Q&A. So let's take a look.
Oh, I feel like a casualty in his plan.
Looks like Natasha's gonna rip his head off.
You're a liar.
No, I didn't say that. Very messy.
There's a storm brewing here.
Ooh,
Rip
where's
his
the
head
Tajnado
off.
when we need
Rip
it?
his
Where
head
is the
off. I want to
Tajnado?
see it.
Okay, but regardless of like the Natasha Brendan stuff, do we think these two are actually in love? Like, what do you really think went down before Paradise? I mean, it looks like she's not taking anyone else on a date. I mean, who wants to go first?
You can go, Gianna.
I really just don't know what these two like. I think that they were potentially in one of those situationships. Maybe they were hooking up. Maybe it was one of those things where they were doing all the coupley things, but they never put the title on it. And then we even heard Brendan say, no, it was casual, which is what a lot of men say when they are really romantically involved with women and they just don't want to put a title on it. So I think that might have been the case for them, and maybe he realized going into Paradise, okay, now that she's here, we can continue and maybe turn it into something real, or just continue the situationship. It's just unfair. I think producers are evil that they do this to everybody. Really, like
or
between
genius.
It's evil or genius. No wonder why the show's been on for so long, and no wonder why it's so successful. Like Kendall showing up, Piper showing up, like there's someone behind all this madness. But it just makes me sad for the other contestants. But they should all know what they're getting into if they've watched the show before. But yeah, these two are a wild card. So again, I mean, Morgan, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think they were before this?
Yeah, so my mind automatically goes back to a story that we did hear on Shared News whenever we first saw Piper and Brendan together. You guys, they don't live in the same area. So, and there were reports that they were flying back and forth to
Boston
each
and
other
New
to
York.
see each other. That's not casual, okay? And if you are buying a plane ticket, getting on a plane, you're spending at least the weekend, multiple times. That's not a fling. And even if they didn't put a title on it or whatever, like your money, like you're spending it on flights, you're spending it on accommodation, like that is more than just, oh, it was casual. And I'm like pissed at Brendan because it's just like slimy that he would do that. Just date at home. If you guys already know that you have something going.
But that's why. No, that's why they go to Paradise, so that they can get paid to date in the same area. They don't have to buy plane tickets anymore. They can explore their relationship in Mexico. So I understand why they would go to Paradise. I just think that it's not their fault that Brendan showed up so much earlier. Does that make sense, Morgan?
Well, it does make sense, except for the fact that he's leading Natasha on. I mean, she's wasting all of her time. Her Paradise experience is going to be ruined after she finds out that she spent 3.5 weeks pursuing somebody who was emotionally not available and probably in a full-blown relationship with somebody else, just waiting for her to walk down the steps. She calls him a liar. He lied to her. It's to be determined on the scale of how much, but he did lie to her, and that does make him a liar.
Okay. I mean, I totally agree with you. And I think he totally played Natasha, and I really want to know what Piper says, because we don't know in this trailer. Like, what is her story when she comes down here? Is she going to pull a bunch of guys aside, or is she going right to Brendan like Kendall did with Joe? Like, what if she plays it like, oh, let me see what Riley's doing. Let me see. Like, we really don't know. And it's going to be funny to see Piper's acting skills, because I agree with you guys. I think they were totally in a relationship before. So let's open it up to our audience. Let's open it up to the Q&A. We're going to be looking at some tweets. We're going to be looking at some memes, answering your questions. If you guys have any Bachelor Nation questions for any of the three of us, leave them right now, because we cannot wait to hear from you guys. And as always, make sure you guys are subscribed, ring the bell, give us a big thumbs up, and even comment down below, and we will get to your comments after the live if you missed it. So we're going to open it up. Does anyone have anything else to say about this, like final thoughts? Because we're going to go all over the place with the questions. Gianna, did you have a final thought?
No, I just honestly want to be on Paradise someday. That's all I have to say. Like,
And who
I
would
need
you
to
be on this
endure all of
season?
this.
Who is the Gianna?
Who is the Gianna of this season?
Is it the
someone
Tajuan?
called me. No, somebody called me a Demi, but I thought it was more of a Tajuan, because I'm usually off screaming about nonsense, and no one really ever knows what I'm sad over.
I want to give you Tajuan. I'm gonna give you Tajuan. Morgan,
it.
I'm gonna give you I feel like I want to kind of give you the Serena P. Would you accept that, or do you feel like you're someone else?
No, yeah, that was
Oh.
my first thought, because I love Grocery Store Joe. But also, I think I would be a Wells, because I like to give people
Ooh.
advice.
Okay, wait, who are you guys giving me before we get to this question? A Wells would be good.
That's such a good
Who can I
question.
be? Guy or girl, host or non-host, anyone. I mean, I have one for myself, but you guys can.
Can I
It
say
has to be
something to
Demi,
make you
though, right?
so
Demi.
angry?
What, Gianna?
I was just gonna call you Connor B as a joke, because I know that Morgan was saying some sort of things earlier before the live about Connor B, so we were talking about him.
Ooh,
But
the real tea
I
happens
like-
before the live.
yeah, you're totally Demi, Zach. That's
I
who
would
you
agree with
are.
that, but I would take a Connor B because
You're-
I like that outfit with the fashion show.
Yes,
You're
he's
Demi
so
without
good.
being as mean as Demi. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
I
Because
mean,
you're
put me in
funny
that
and you know
environment.
how to
give me the
deliver,
camera.
the drama.
Thank you, but put me in that environment with the cameras and have someone steal my man. Next, let's get to our questions. Brianna says, I think you are giving Thomas too much credit. Haha, I think Thomas is just going about his business and the other guys are just threatened and insecure. No, I mean, I think that, I don't think we're giving Thomas too much credit. I think the guys are giving Thomas too much credit. I think they're giving him too much power, specifically Aaron, and that's why it's so ironic that Aaron keeps stealing his girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that. And at the end of the day, it's actually Tammy's issue. It's not an issue,
True.
Between Aaron and Thomas, which was my point. Like, why are you guys fighting with each other when, Tammy kind of created this whole mess of a situation? And I mean, we did see Aaron confront Tammy later, but only after Thomas and Aaron got in a screaming match. So, I'm just over the drama with Thomas.
Me too.
Oh, Lydia says, I just wanted Connor to find love. # Bachelor in Paradise. Oh,
Well,
I'm just not a Connor fan. I'm sorry. You know what it is? He reminds me of somebody that I had a thing with in the past and it didn't end well. And there are so many similarities that I can't bring myself to like Connor because he reminds me so much of this guy that was just not good.
Was his name Connor too?
Yeah, we'll just call him Connor too.
See, I feel like Connor will get something out of Paradise because he got that new outfit, which I think they bought for him. I don't think he brought that. And then he also got lots of exposure about his music career. I mean, everyone was talking about it. Lance Bass was kind of shading him for it next week. And I mean, all the scenes we saw of Connor was him playing his guitar for other people. So I think he got a lot out of Paradise. I mean, is there any chance he can be the next Bachelor, Gianna? Because that also there is a petition going around for that as well.
I mean, there could definitely be a chance. I know other people are more so in the running. I mean, we'll find out soon, but I do feel bad for him in a way. I know Morgan, you're just whatever, but Connor's one of those guys that's genuinely, he's the nice guy. And it's we always hear about, women liking more so the bad guy or the guy that's not really into them. And he's
Brendan.
If you put a perfect nice man on a checklist, Connor checks off all the boxes. Like, he's so cute. And I think that's like one of his like downfalls in a way, which makes me sad because I just know that he has good intentions. I know that he has a good heart, and to see him like get his heart broken all the time, like I can't even handle it. So like, justice for
Maybe on the
Connor.
show
We'll
though.
see.
No. Maybe on the show he's
What?
like that good guy, but on social media he's so sassy. Like he's always tweeting things and
Oh.
commenting things. Like I mean, people on social media change my opinion because like I actually hated Aaron
Yeah.
like from the show, and then seeing him on social media, I'm like he's so funny and he's in all the memes. So like you get such a different perspective by looking on social. But
That's
Natalie
true.
says,
That's so true.
I can't wait to see Matt James on Dancing with the Stars. We were talking about this before we came on live. I mean, who's excited for Matt
Yes.
James? I mean, I'm thrilled.
Yeah,
I love Matt
I
James.
am.
I'm excited. Yeah. It's gonna be.
I
I
It's
feel
gonna
like
be
we're
really
gonna
interesting.
we're gonna see the more like lively side of Matt that we saw in his TikTok, which is what got him the
Mhm.
role on The Bachelor to begin with. And then his season came along and it was just a dumpster fire, and we didn't get to see any of his personality. We saw his dance moves like sometimes in the bloopers and like in the rolling
Yes.
credits. But I feel like this is gonna be Matt James' redemption. You know, like people will actually be able to see his true personality, what got him to be The Bachelor to begin with. And as a Matt hater, as a Matt season hater.
You are
I don't hate Matt.
Okay.
I hated Matt's season. I hated his season. I'm
That's
excited to
fair.
see him in a different light.
Yeah. I mean, he
Yeah.
has a great personality. Like, I think Matt is so funny. And that's what I meant when I say people on the show are different than social media, because everyone thinks he's boring from watching him on the show. But if you've seen him on social media, he is hilarious. And I love his
Mhm.
friendship with Tyler. A lot of people were kind of being like, why wasn't Tyler on Dancing with the Stars? Because Tyler is going on this dirty dancing show. And then people are also like, people as in me, they're like, why didn't Tyler become the Bachelor instead of Matt? So there's like, they're best friends, but there's also this like low-key rivalry. Gianna, what is Bridget saying?
I just also wanted to add in, like, I am glad that Matt James is now going to have like an experience on a less problematic reality show. You know, Dancing with the
Yes.
Stars is always happy vibes, good vibes, because we all know the way that Matt's season ended. He was done. He deleted everything off of his Instagram. It was like a new
Everything.
fresh start for him. So, like you guys were saying, I'm glad that we're gonna get to see that side, and I'm glad for his well-being that he gets to be on the show. But moving on, Bridget is saying Tia's gaydar. Girl, you dated the same man. We were just talking about this, were we not,
We
before the
were.
live? You guys, we were saying, you know, Demi, like, you cannot bash Tia for having a bad gaydar when you literally were on the same season dating the same guy, which again just goes to show how Demi is always speaking her mind, and she's like kind of sometimes reaching to say that next funny thing or reaching for a low blow
Mhm.
type of joke. So I think that this was in the moment, you know, again showing how angry and maybe insecure she was feeling that Tia was about to steal her man. So I totally agree with what Bridget just said, and we were just talking
And to be
about that.
fair, like I don't think Tia or anyone would expect a gay man to go on a straight dating show. So I mean, that's not
No.
necessarily. You don't want to put that on the girl. You kind of have to put it on the gay guy for whatever reason he decides to go on a straight dating show. Everyone's on their own
Exactly.
journey. So Turd says the only person to walk down the stair that would be more intimidating than a bachelorette. Imagine Tyler Cameron to like for Paradise. Like, I mean, the girls would just drop their panties, right, Morgan?
Isn't it so funny how I feel like Tyler Cameron is too good for any Bachelor show? And how did he even get to the place that he is now? Like, I just feel like if you were to say, oh, Tyler Cameron's going to be in Bachelor in Paradise. No, he's not. He's too good for that. Tyler Cameron's going to be the next Bachelor. No, he's too good for that. That is what I
He's too
think.
good
But
for everything.
how did he get to be too good for the franchise that he was on?
Gigi.
It does not
He
make
dated
any sense
Gigi.
to me.
Right
Yeah.
after he dated Gigi, A-list model. And he's also so good
Mm.
looking. I mean, I want to see him as the Bachelor, but not until he's actually ready to get engaged and married. So even if we have to wait like 2 or 3 years, like bring him back. Like they brought back with
Yeah.
Ari. Like bring him back. Salomon says, hey, butthead, I would start crying and throwing up. Oh my God, this
Thank
was
you.
a funny meme.
Morgan.
That's what
Thank
I mean.
you.
It doesn't make like. When do you think the last time they talked? That's a really good question, Morgan. When did
Mm.
Kendall and Joe talk last? Was it their breakup, or do you think they kept in contact? It seems like they were talking like 3 weeks ago. If she's coming in with these jokes,
Yeah, well, whenever they did first break up, they were still like commenting on each other's Instagrams and stuff.
Okay.
So it wasn't like this messy, huge fight where they ended up hating each other. I think that they like mutually decided to go separate ways because of the living situation. So it's like when you don't have that messy breakup, you don't like necessarily completely cut people out of your life. You know what I'm saying? You always kind of want to keep it cute. You want to keep it civil. So it's like, who knows if they've maybe been exchanging Instagram comments here and there. But I also feel like, you know, if Joe did not tell Kendall himself that he was going on Bachelor in Paradise, then they weren't close still. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
she figured out that he was on Bachelor in Paradise because producers reached out to her and asked her to go on Bachelor in Paradise. So
For a
like I feel
nice
like they were
check.
done. And it's like I said before, her walking in and saying, "Hey, butthead," to me is just you know, marking her territory move. And I just didn't like it.
100%. And if Joe is really into
Yeah.
Serena, he needs to shut that down immediately. Gianna, would you do it for a check? We know that TikTok. Would you do it for a check? Would you be Kendall and go confront your ex on the beach?
Yeah, probably. I mean, just thinking like how I am for a check, of course, like just to stir the pot.
Anything for a check.
I really think I would do it. It's kind of iconic. It really is of her. But in this situation, because I love grocery store Joe, I'm not Team Kendall. But if I were Kendall, if it were me, I would do it. So I call me a hypocrite, but I would.
Okay. Gianna, what is Vanilla Ice Spice saying?
Vanilla Spice is saying you may not like Demi, but you have to admit she understands the assignment when it comes to hashtag Bachelor in Paradise. You know what, Vanilla
Period.
Spice? Because I was saying that I wasn't a Demi fan, I do agree with you when it comes to being on a show such as Bachelor in Paradise. You have to be charismatic. You have to be funny. You have to be dramatic. Like someone needs to be the sort of comedic relief. Again, I just don't like when she's going after other women and bringing them down. Like you can be funny, but without kind of bullying in that sense. But yeah, you're totally right. Demi is what producers and casting directors want and need for Paradise. I mean, she's
stirs the
the
pot.
epitome of reality TV. So absolutely, Zach, you love her. So
I do.
It's perfect.
She stirs the pot quite literally and figuratively. She is stirring the pot. Ruby Ray says, highly doubt they went to the boom boom room. Producers fed Demi the script and she just act on it. Horrible acting, by the way. I mean, this is an interesting conversation, and I don't think it's like appropriate to discuss like if they did it or if they didn't do it. But they definitely were in the boom boom room. I think Demi like knew what the boom boom room was because she's been on the show before. So I think she's just like using that as a weapon. There's always been a boom boom room on Paradise. I've seen it before on other seasons. They've never like put so much emphasis on it. And now the show has become a lot more sexual. Right, Morgan?
And I mean, whenever Kenny was on his date with Tia, he really sidestepped a lot of questions where I feel, and that could just be editing, but also if they didn't do anything, if they didn't hook up at all, he would just say no. And he didn't do that. So Brett says, Kenny, every time someone new comes down the stairs with a date card, I mean, I'm not a slut, but who knows? See, this is what I'm talking about. I don't get the deal with Kenny. I just don't get it, you guys.
Kenny has a great personality. There was another meme that Kenny was upset when Lance was leaving because you know how he's a boy band manager, so he's like trying to get Lance to sign his book contracts. I mean, Kenny's just such a good time. I didn't really like him on Claysha's season, but this season he's so fun and goofy, and he has so many options. I mean, he truly is the king of Paradise, and he's not coming across like an F-boy. Like, he is managing it the best way he can
Is
with
that
all of these
true?
girls.
I think he is.
You don't think so? I mean,
No,
how,
I think
mean,
It's hard.
I
I
think
was
the
also
double
just gonna say
standard.
like, yeah,
Go ahead, G.
there definitely is a double standard because it's like you said earlier, Morgan. It's like, okay, when like he got mad at Mari for saying, you know, if there's a potential date card that goes to me, like whatever, and then he's like, you want to have your cake and eat it too, and now like he's doing the same thing with Demi. It's like everything you just said, but again, that's just Paradise. Like it is what it is. That's what we all do. But I do think there's a bit of a double standard. But when it comes to Demi and all these women pursuing Kenny didn't start any of the relationships. Demi went and chased after him. Tia gave him the date card. So I'm kind of like Kenny. I kind of like him. But again, I
Thank
think,
you.
I'm physically attracted to him the best. So that's
Okay. Fair enough.
Yes.
Lexi says, me trying to figure out why Jasenia likes Chris more than Ivan. Like literally, like who leaves Ivan? I'm so upset for Ivan. Who do you guys think that Ivan can rebuttal with? Because we know he likes Serena P, but she's taken. Jasenia seems into Chris. I mean, do you guys have thoughts about Chris and Jasenia before the show? And like, who do you
Yeah,
think that
I
Ivan
mean,
should
that's a
go for now?
huge thing that we found out this week that Jasenia knew Chris before the show. And it's like the outrage with Piper and Brendan. Now, Jasenia and Chris might not have been on the same page. We saw Katie Thurston kind of address that because she was in the group too, that they were all just hanging out with friends or as friends. But still, if you like vibe with somebody in a friend setting, and then you know that they're going on with Bachelor, you know that they're both going to be on the beach, it's like the same concept, right? You're going down there like hoping and praying and laser focus on one person, and you just use other people until that one person comes down the stairs. And Ivan, of all people, like Jasenia, you could have pretended to be into like Carl or somebody that you knew wasn't going to get anybody else's rose. But Ivan, who really does have a chance to leave Paradise engaged, girl, no, I can't.
I feel like with Jasenia though, I think that they were just friends because they lived in different cities. I don't think they were dating like Piper and Brendan, but I think that maybe she had her eye on Chris. I mean, Jasenia talks a little bit more about it in like an Us Weekly interview this week. She was also on Daily Pop. So she did say that she like they really weren't like talking before. Like they just like were kind of friends. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But devastated for Ivan, like Ivan for Bachelor. Terrence says, speaking of the role, one day ABC will realize that Mike Johnson is the one that got away. 100%. Wait, Gianna, where are you
Mike
at with the next Bachelor?
Johnson.
Who do you want to be the next
I
Bachelor?
really don't. I just don't know. Like I keep seeing all the rumors about Greg. That was a huge thing this past week, but I just genuinely don't see Greg like going back on at all. I really don't. Like the way that he left the show, I don't think that he would ever go on again. Like I really just don't think. I don't think we'll even see him on Paradise unless it's like years down the line, maybe. But Greg's been living his best life. He was in Boston this weekend, and I don't want him to go on the show because I want to try to pursue him in real life.
Because you're in Boston, right?
Because I'm in Boston too, and he's been partying here on the weekends. But when it comes to the next Bachelor, I know I've been trying. So if any of you watching, find his location in Boston, just send it to me. I vote Andrew for Bachelor next because we love him. He, that his ending was so sad. We were all heartbroken, and he's just the sweetest. And I think I can see him going back on that show with good intentions. But what do you guys think? I'm so curious.
I mean, I stand Michael A all day, every day. I have like kind of lost hope that he will be the next Bachelor, but I think Mike always was a fan favorite. He should have had a season by now. Is it too late? Has the ship already sailed for Mike? I hope not. I would really like to see him again.
Oh my God, that would be so good. I think the ship has sailed for Michael A, and I also think it sailed for Greg. I agree. I just don't think he's gonna go back on the show and put himself. He's not ready for marriage. So Andrew S did put up an Instagram story that he would be open to going on Paradise if he doesn't find love before that. So Andrew S so that was kind of like up in the air. So maybe. But that is everything we have to share with you guys today. I mean, does anyone have any predictions they like have to say before we head out of here for next week? Because I'm just really excited about Piper coming down. It's just gonna be a train wreck. Morgan, what do you think's gonna happen?
I mean, I just can't wait to see Natasha rip Brendan's head off. I'm so excited to see that. I also am excited. I mean, I don't want to say excited, but ready to see Serena and Joe be tested. If they can make it through this, they might be a serious contender to get engaged at the end of the season. And we want engagements. That's what we want out of these Bachelor shows. So I'm excited to see if they pass this test or not. Gianna, what do you think?
Yes.
I just cannot wait to see the Kenny, Demi, Mari, and Tia square pan out. Like, I just don't know how it's going to work out. I'm excited to see that conversation. Hopefully it is next week because I just cannot wait. And I'm just wondering who he's going to choose, or is there going to be a fifth person? What's a
Oh my God.
five-sided
Octagon?
shape called?
Or is that 8? Pentagon.
Hexagon?
There's going to be lots of shapes coming to
Pentagon,
Bachelor
you
in
guys,
Paradise.
it's 5.
Pentagon.
Oh, yeah, Pentagon.
Where's Connor when you need him? You guys know Connor the cat is a math teacher. I mean, he just left us a little too soon. But we cannot wait for Bachelor in Paradise next week. It's going to get even crazier. So we are going to be back here talking about it all season long. And let us know what you guys think. Even if you missed today's live, comment down below. We read all of your comments. We want to hear your opinions. Who are you rooting for? I cannot wait to see what happens with Abigail and Noah as well. Next week is going to be crazy. So before you guys go, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, joined today by Morgan Wright and Gianna Gravalisi. Our social media handles are on the screen right now. Come shoot us a DM, talk all things Bachelor with us. Please send us your favorite memes. We definitely want to see them and continue the conversation. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll be back with more Bachelor in Paradise. See you later, guys. Bye.